I went from this to this in 9 months. Stick around to find out how. Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You might be asking yourself, Bob, what in the world am I watching here? Well, you're watching me walk. I know that doesn't seem super exciting to many people, but 10 months ago I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes at a time without severe pain. And now I'm out here walking every day. This month I've been trying to get 15,000 steps every day. I failed yesterday. I'm going to talk about that. But I do still hope to make it up. But today we're going to talk about some of the problems that you might encounter on the carnivore diet. And I, of course, left my note sheet in the trailer. So hopefully I can remember everything I was going to talk about. If not, I may, on this first lap, I may swing back by the trailer and grab my notes. If you're returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I have to say I'm really disappointed in the weather down here in North Carolina right now. And it seems I've been saying that a lot this winter. But, you know, just a couple of weeks ago, I realized that none of my shorts fit, so I ordered a couple of new pair of shorts. They came in. I got to wear each pair of shorts once. And now look at this crap. It's beautiful, it's bright, it's sunny. It's 40 degrees out. It's only supposed to get up to 48 today. This is just flat out crazy. I'm less than 2 weeks from heading up to Ohio. And I've got my hat and my big blue coat on. Last year I was hanging out and I left because, wow, those flowers are starting. Let me turn around here facing into the sun. I don't know if you can see those purple flowers starting to bloom on the bush behind me or not. Really pretty. But last year at this time, it was a couple of weeks later. It was down towards Easter. But it was on Easter last year that I made the decision that it was time to get ready to head home, because I don't have air conditioning in my trailer. And it was getting so hot every day that I was hot and sweaty and just felt yucky every day. And now I'm less than 2 weeks from going home. The wind is still blowing through the trees. You can see the trees rustling back and forth. And it's cold out. But yeah, let's quickly talk about my fail. Yesterday I did not get my 15,000 steps in. I only got about 6,500, I think is where it ended up. I know it was over 6,000, and I went back inside a couple of times. And that usually, every time I get out of my trailer and go around to the front door of the church, it adds another 250 steps or so. So it was about 6,500 steps, which is not nearly enough for what I'm trying to do. Hopefully I'll get some extras in today. But Sunday morning I woke up and it was raining. And then I listened to it some more. It's like, that's not rain. That's chunks of ice hitting the top of my trailer. So I finished getting ready for church. Went to step out of my trailer. And I just had that little folding plastic step to get in and out of the trailer with. Luckily, I still had a hold of my little handrail, so I almost fell and busted myself open. Because even with the, and I'll show it to you here real quick. I think I can get it in the shot there. It's got those little traction pad thingies on it. But I had a hold of my hand thingy and my foot just came right off that step because it was covered in ice. The parking lot was covered in ice. My truck was covered in ice. After church, it had all melted off. After first service, it stopped raining between first and second service, so I got a couple of laps in because there's about 45 minutes in between. But I didn't want to walk too much. Didn't want to get all hot and stinky for church. But I did get a couple of laps in on the parking lot because I had on my church shoes, those are much harder to walk in, so I didn't walk real fast, but I got a couple of laps around the parking lot in. And it just, after second service, it was raining again. And it just kept continuing to rain and rain and rain. I looked at it, at my phone at the weather forecast, and it was supposed to stop about 6 in the evening. I thought, well, 6 in the evening, I can go ahead and burn up some laps around the parking lot underneath the lights. That'll be fine. So I did something I hadn't done in quite some time. I played a couple hours of Cyberpunk 2077. I know most of you probably haven't even heard of that game, but it's a survival game set in the future. I've always enjoyed it. I know, I'm weird. I'm one of these gamer guys. But I was tired. It was about 2 in the afternoon. No, it was a little later now. It was about 3:30 or 4. Because church didn't get out till 2. But, well, I got a couple hours here before the rain's supposed to stop. I'm going to lay down and take a nap. So I laid down and take a little nap, which seems like a good thing to do on a cold, rainy day. I woke up and it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So that was that. My entire day was done. So my quick little nap before walking turned into 11 or 12 hours. I didn't actually look at the clocks, but it was somewhere between 11 and 12 hours a nap. My body must have needed it. Everybody talks about sleep being important, and I was starting to feel it. And it wasn't just the steps. It was the getting the steps in on top of something going on at the church here every single day. Even Pastor mentioned it in the second service Sunday. He's like, don't come out to the church looking for people this week. We've had something going on pretty much every day for the last 2 weeks. I'm giving the staff tomorrow off. Miss Jessica still came in and did some stuff. But there was not many people here yesterday. All the cars I see in the parking lot are people that work at the nursery. Because that's never closed. But anyway, let's talk about some of these problems that people encounter. Oh, I did have one more thing to talk about real quick. I get a lot of questions and suggestions in the comments. Have you tried this seed or this oil? Or have you tried putting some of this veggie in your diet? And it's always, they always back it up with, this is really good for you. No, it's not. For every nutrient some manufacturer claims that their plant has, they don't tell you about the anti-nutrients. They don't tell you about the oxalates and the lectins and everything else that can cause the body problems. And I apparently have problems with all of those because I was so sick eating the recommended diet. Now granted, that last 35 or 40 pounds in that last year before I started this way was because I'd given up and was basically just waiting for it all to be over. I had a lot of pizza. But at least I thought I was happy. Turns out, now I'm happy. And now I can truly say absolutely nothing tastes as good as healthy feels. But some of the problems people always complain about. Oh, I tried that carnivore diet once. It gave me kidney stones. No, it did not. What it did was shrink your kidney stones so that they would actually start to move out of your system, and that's when the pain happens. If you got kidney stones while you were on the carnivore diet, because a huge portion, I forget the exact numbers, 88, 90% of all kidney stones are calcium oxalate stones. Calcium and oxalate bind together in the kidney and make these stones. Well, there's only one place you get oxalates, and it ain't from a carnivore diet. And what happens is when you stop pumping oxalates into your system, those stones that you've had for probably years begin to shrink. And once they shrink to a point where your kidney thinks it can get rid of them, it tries to get rid of them. And I can tell you from having had many kidney stones in my life, that hurts. Carol Burnett once said, having kidney stones is as bad or worse than giving birth. And then she went on to say, and I think she was on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, but she was doing an interview, and what she said was, if you want to know what childbirth feels like, without actually having to, go get pregnant and have a child, she said, get a hold of your bottom lip. Now take a really firm grip on it. You got to have a really firm grip on your bottom lip. Okay, now pull it over your forehead. She was one of the true great comedians that didn't need to use vulgarity to make people laugh. So no, it's not the carnivore diet or the keto or the ketovore or the low carb way of eating that's giving you kidney stones. It's actually making them better. You're just now finally feeling them. But once this little bout is over, you'll probably never have them again. Now, depending on how many stones you had, because I had a bunch. I've had 3 or 4 little ow, that kind of hurt moments since starting carnivore. And a couple real humdingers. But this is probably way too much information, but I think it's done now because for decades prior, when I went to the bathroom, I could always see a little bit of sediment, kind of a reddish orangey kind of sediment sinking in the bowl. So I always had a lot of little tiny stones. And that's finally all gone and cleared up. That was oxalate dumping. On to the next problem. Constipation. Oh, I've got so much constipation I haven't gone to the bathroom in almost a week. Well, let's think about this for a minute. What is your excrement? It's your waste. It's stuff that didn't get absorbed and used. Well, if you're eating a carnivore diet, not putting any plant material, not putting any fiber into your system, you're not putting anything into your system that doesn't get used. There are quite a few people when they first start, even me, get a job or something, dude. Probably has a job. What's really stupid is it takes a lot more money to make your car sound like that. And why in the world would you want to make your car sound like that? I mean, he's a mile up the road and I can still hear him. I don't get it. But anyway, what was I talking about here? Oh yeah, constipation. If you're not eating anything that makes waste, you might not go for quite some time, especially when you're first starting. Now, when you're first starting, you're going to have, most likely, because I certainly did, the sudden, explosive, urgent, gotta go right now moments for the first couple of weeks. But then after that's gone, you're so glad it's gone, you don't notice for a few days, and then you wake up one morning, it's like, I must be constipated. It's been 5 days since I've gone to the bathroom. Well, no, this is just another natural part of your body adjusting. Even today, again, another too much information moment. I go a couple of times a week. And it's fine. Now, true constipation, you got bloating, pain, pressure, bleeding, that kind of stuff. That's real constipation. And if you don't have any of that stuff, you're not constipated. You just don't have to go. If you are constipated, it's very likely that you're still eating some kind of fiber material. And it's very bad for you. Dr. Paul Mason has a really good video on this. I forget which one of his talks I was watching, because I've watched a lot of them. He was, talking about a fiber study where they took on, I don't remember how many people it was, but they took on a group of people that had chronic constipation. and the symptoms. They were diagnosed with what doctors call idiopathic constipation. Idio being from the root word idiot, and pathic being from the root word pathetic. His joke, not mine. But he said what idiopathic basically means is the doctor doesn't know what's causing it, and he's just going to give you some drugs to treat the symptoms. He has no real interest in finding out what the cause of that might be. But anyway, they took these people and divided them up into 3 groups. They gave one group a higher fiber than they were eating diet. They left one group alone as the control group, and they put the other group on a 0 fiber diet. The people who they did nothing with, the control group, of course, all had the same symptoms, and nothing really changed. The group they gave the higher fiber to had, I'm going to go lean up against the bus so I'm facing into the sun while I finish this up. They gave the higher fiber group, more fiber, and not all of them, I don't even remember if he gave a percentage, but most of them, their constipation symptoms got worse. But the real interesting part of this study is that they looked at the group that they gave 0 fiber diets to, and every one of them, there was not a single outlier, and this now was a small study. I think there were like 10 people in each group, but every person in the low fiber group resolved all of their symptoms. So no, carnivore is not causing your constipation. Something else is causing your constipation. And the lists like these go on and on and on. There are so many things that can happen to you when you're out there. And you're going to think to yourself, oh, this happened and I'm eating carnivore, so the carnivore must have caused it. No, the carnivore diet did not cause what's wrong with you. It is attempting to correct. It's like, if all the wildfires that happen every year out in California. Well, every time you see these wildfires, there's a whole bunch of firemen running around the fire. Are they the ones that set the fire, or are they there to try and put it out? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So anyway, I hope this short little video has been helpful for you. That's what I've got for you today. Don't forget to get out there, be 1% better. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you tomorrow.